After marriage, every woman wants her husband to express his love for her, to praise her, and to talk to her differently, but nothing like that was happening here. My back was starting to ache as I sat there. Before I could get out of bed and go to the door to the room opened loudly. My mother-in-law entered the room like a storm, but to my surprise, it was then that they locked the room from the inside. This is the husband's job. I started thinking to myself. I looked up and looked at my mother-in-law, and she came closer to me and looked at me carefully. Daughter, I know very well what is going on in your mind. Where is your husband? Why am I repeatedly locking you in this room? Daughter, I don't want anyone to notice your beauty. I will also send you to your husband, but the time for that has not come yet. You sit in my room for now. And yes, change your clothes and wear something comfortable so that it will be easier for you to pray. My mother-in-law looked very Islamic. I was also happy. Come on, there is hope, but she is not modern. If I had been brought up in a rich and modern family, life would have been difficult. Anyway, I had not yet learned to do fashion or makeup. I will sit quietly. I changed my clothes and prayed Isha, but that was the last time I prayed Isha. Well, after that, I fell asleep. I fell asleep. When I opened my eyes, I was in my mother-in-law's room. I didn't feel bad that my mother-in-law was taking such good care of me. Why was I so restless? My mother-in-law came and gave me a pair of green shoes and said, "Put these on. I have to introduce you to the guests. It's daytime now. You can see your husband later. Right now, it's time for the guests. The masjids are coming to see you. We have to have a wedding reception too." I was happy. I dressed up and got ready. Women started coming to see me one by one. The family hated me. They started coming to see me one by one. I was the new member of the family. So many people came to see me. But whoever saw me looked at me with a strange look and kept staring. She was Arsalan's wife. All the women looked at me as if I were a wonder. I couldn't understand the meaning of everyone's looks. But no one asked me about Arsalan. They didn't even mention my husband. Everyone who saw me was very kind. He looked at me with pity and said, "May Allah have mercy on you and make your life easy." My in-laws were very respectable people. None of them treated me badly, nor did they make me feel that I belonged to a poor family. Everyone sympathized with me, but little did I know that this sympathy was not because of my poverty, but because of my fortune. After all the women left, my mother-in-law took me to my room again. I had not seen my husband's room yet. My mother-in-law made me sit in her room and said, "Daughter, just sit here. If you don't mind, I will call you out when I need you." Now, I wanted to talk about my husband. "Amma, won't you be a scholar?" Hearing my words, my mother-in-law smiled and pulled my ears and said, "I know very well that it is not easy for you to attend the walima. For that, you will have to pass some of our tests." "What kind of test, Amma?" I asked nervously. "First, you will have to make yourself worthy of Arsalan. You will have to make yourself worthy if I am worthy. If not, why did they marry me?" My tongue was filled with suspicion. Now, it is clear that this eye-to-eye thing has been going on for so long. It was my right to ask my questions about my husband. My mother-in-law started touching her ears after hearing me. Oh, brother, such eagerness to meet her husband. In our time, girls were so shy that when someone came to their house to get married, they would not come forward and then they would not meet their husbands for weeks. But, what are the shameless girls of today? They are very fond of talking to their husbands. My mother-in-law's thinking was very backward. I kept quiet and said, "Come on, how long will you keep your son away from me? Will she also make any progress?" Because when a man gets married, he also wants to meet his wife. I was not alone in this fire. I had kept quiet thinking this, but there was no progress from my husband. The whole day passed like this until he was beaten twice. Now, my eyes started to feel very hot. I asked my mother-in-law, "Will I sleep in your room today too?" My mother-in-law started playing the same Mustafar drama again. "Girl, aren't you ashamed of yourself, going to your husband's room?" "I want to go, that too on the second day of the wedding." My mother-in-law had made these things so strange and awkward that my heart just woke up. "Well, let's do something." My mother-in-law called me and said, "What's the matter?" I looked at her questioningly. "Daughter, when your husband comes to meet you, there should be blessings between you two, and blessings come from worship. That's why I can't introduce you to my son until you get used to praying the full 5 prayers. I have also told him the same thing, that he should first improve his prayers, and then I will come to meet you both. My son also doesn't pray well and you don't pray well either. The only way to improve both of you is to make it a condition that I pray first. When you both get used to praying, then I will introduce you to each other." I had become silent after listening to my mother-in-law, but I was also happy in my heart that my mother-in-law was good to me. She just wanted blessings in our relationship, so that we don't fight with each other. So I wanted to make the prayer obligatory first. I was happy about my mother-in-law's Islamic thinking. I said, "Okay, I will start praying prayers from today itself." I started praying the Zuhr prayer. I prayed the Asr and Maghrib prayers too. My mother-in-law told me another piece of news, that you had not prayed the Fajr prayer. "I will introduce you to my son on the day you pray all 5 prayers and pray with enthusiasm." I said, "Okay." A woman woke up the next day at Fajr. I prayed well and also recited the Holy Quran. My mother-in-law was happy to see me. She said, "Daughter, may Allah soften your heart and instill love in your heart for my son." How could I tell my mother-in-law that I had fallen in love with him at the time of marriage? Now I wanted to meet him. After praying the Maghrib prayer, my anxiety was at its peak. I was happy thinking about my husband, how he would speak, how he would look, what he would say to me. This is how beautiful our new life would be. While thinking, I smiled as my mother-in-law entered the room and said, "Daughter, I will not introduce you to my son until you pray Isha. So instead of dwelling on good thoughts today, it is better that you first complete Isha prayer. Only then will I send you to Arsalan. And what kind of a shawl are you wearing while praying?" "Son, this is very thin. Put on this white dupatta and pray in it. It will always be useful to you. It is a very blessed dupatta. When you wear it, you will realize for yourself that it has a strange charm." There were about 10 to 20 minutes left before the call to prayer for Isha. I ate my food, then put on the same shawl and stood up to pray. I could smell a faint fragrance from this shawl. The fragrance was very familiar. I was so intoxicated while smelling this fragrance that I was not aware of my surroundings. After a while, my eyes started to feel sleepy. I was not aware of what was happening. Then the whole night passed in this conflict of whether I was sleeping or awake until the next morning when I opened my eyes. Neither my sleep was complete nor did I feel refreshed. There was a strange tiredness that surrounded me. I was feeling very strange. I was feeling unwell and my head was aching. My mother-in-law got up and came to my room and placed a glass of milk in front of me and said, "Daughter, drink milk. You must be very tired. You prayed all night." "No, mother, where did I pray? I couldn't even pray Isha prayer." At that moment, I fell asleep. "Oh, daughter, what have you done? Now, I have not met you with Arsalan today either." Saying this, my mother-in-law dropped another bomb on my head. Now, will I continue to yearn for my husband like this for the rest of my life?